Today we're going to be working with equations using tax formulas. So you should have the worksheet N1-3. Okay, let's look at our first problem. It says we're going to write an equation for each of the following and solve. Round appropriately. So for the dollars, we need to round to the nearest cent, and for lengths, we need to round to 3 decimal places. If it does not have 3 decimal places, then just round to what the correct answer is with 1 or 2 decimal places. So let's look at question number 1. It says the perimeter of a rectangle swimming pool is 92 feet. The width of the pool is 21 feet. And it wants to know what would be the length of the pool. So first you need the formula. So I want you to copy this formula down for perimeter. You have perimeter is equal to 2 times L plus 2 times W. L and W standing for length and width. So now I'm going to take the numbers that I had in the equation and fill it out. So I'm going to have 92 is equal to 2L plus 2, and the W, the width was actually 21 that it stated in our problem. So I plug in 21 for W. And now I'm going to solve the equation. So here I have 92 equals 2L plus 42. 2 times 21 gave me 42. And now I'm going to solve for L. So I would subtract 42 from both sides, and that will end up with 50 equals 2L. And then my last step in solving an equation, I'm going to divide both sides by 2, and I should get the answer that L is equal to 25. Okay, let's look at the second equation. My second question says the circumference of a circle garden is 1,256 feet. What would be the length of the radius of the garden? So first we need the circumference formula. So go ahead and copy this down. Circumference is equal to pi r squared. Okay, now we know what the circumference is, so we can plug in 1,256 for C. And we want to know what the radius is, so we're going to solve for r. So here I plugged in the 1256. Now remember, pi is also a number. It's 3.14. So in order for me to solve for r, I'm going to divide both sides by pi, or 3.14. You can either use the button pi on the calculator or 3.14. Once I do that, I end up with r squared is equal to 400. Now, when I have an r squared, how do I unsquare something? That's right. I'm going to square root both sides. So by square rooting 400, I should get that the radius is equal to 20. Okay, let's look at problem number 3. It says find the height of a cylinder if the radius of the cylinder is 7 inches and the total surface area of the cylinder is 967.12 square inches. So first you need the formula for surface area. My surface area is equal to 2 times pi times r, parentheses height plus radius. Okay, now I'm going to take the information that I was given and fill out my formula. So I should have written 967.12 is equal to 2 times pi times 7, and in parentheses h plus 7. So our goal is to solve for h. So first I'm going to combine like terms. Here I can multiply the 2 times the 7 times the pi. I'm going to take these 3 numbers and multiply them together. From here, I should get that I have 967.12 is equal to 14 pi, parenthesis h plus 7. Now in order to cancel out my 14 pi, I'm going to divide both sides by 14 pi. Those will cancel, and what I should end up with is 22 is equal to h plus 7. Now how would I get rid of that positive 7? That's right, we're going to subtract 7. We always do the opposite in order to move it to the other side of the equation. So from here, I should end up with my height as being equal to 15. Now flip the page and let's look at a few more examples. All right, so question 4, it says, if the volume of a cone is 3,692.64 cubic centimeters and the height of the cone is 18 centimeters, what would be the area of the base of the cone? I want you guys to go ahead and highlight area of the base so we can talk about it in a minute. Okay, so first we're going to need the formula. The formula for volume of a cone is volume equals 1/3 area of the base, that's what that capital B is for, times height. Okay, so let's take the numbers that we have and fill it in for the variables that it told us to. So I should have 3,692.64 is equal to 1/3 area of the base times 18, which again was my height. When I multiply the 1/3 and the 18, I get 6. So what I should have is 3,692.64 is equal to 6b. In order to solve for area of the base, I'm going to have to divide both sides by 6. And I should end up with area of the base is 615.44. Again, it might be something a little bit different depending on whether you used 3.14 or pi. So let's look at our last question. And our last question is dealing with interest. It's going to be simple interest. So here it says a car dealership sold you a car for $12,000. The bank financed the car with a simple interest loan. The loan was over 3 years and the interest rate was 5.25% per year. What will the car end up really costing you? So here, my equation for simple interest is equal to P, which is our principal. Our principal is the initial amount. R, which is the rate is always the percentage, and T is time. Now make note that time is always in years. So if I label my 12,000 is my principal, my 5.25 is going to be my rate, and the 3 years is going to be my time. Now, you must always have time in years. So if I give you a question using months, you need to convert them into years. The other thing is when I talk about rate and I'm working with a percentage, I have to change my percentage to a decimal. So here, if I have 5.25%, what am I going to do in order to change it to a decimal? I'm going to move my decimal places 2 places to the left, and that is where I'm going to get 0.0525. So if I look at how I would plug this into the equation, I should have interest is equal to 12,000 times 0.0525 times 3. And so when I multiply all of those out, I get that interest is $1,890. Now let's go back to the question. The question tells me it wants to know what will the car end up really costing you. Well, interest is just the amount that's getting added to the principal rate. So I have one more step. I'm going to take the $12,000 and add what I found for interest, which is $1,890. And when I add that together, my total cost of the car is $13,890. So you guys are going to use the formulas for these 5 questions to answer the questions in class. I would go ahead and start on some of them. Some of them are really easy. We're talking about area of a triangle, area of a rectangle. So use those formulas and try and work the 10 problems that I have attached to this worksheet. And I will see you tomorrow.